Hi, I'm Molly from Wild Olive, and today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little cross-stitch postage stamps that are also pins. And I have had a tutorial on my blog for making these for a little while, but I wanted to show them on video so you could see some of the process and show you some new ways to do this. So these are made with a pattern, a cross-stitch pattern that I have in my Etsy shop. And it has their Heart Stay stamps is the name of the pattern. And so it has 20 different stamp patterns in it. So any of them will work to make these stamp pins. But in order to make these with this cute little border that you see, you do need to cut the felt out using a deep etch die. And this is a set that I designed for Benzie Design. And if you have a manual die cutter, you should go and pick up this set called Stamp of Approval, and then you can cut as many stamps as you'd like. However, since not everyone has one of those, I now have a kit that you can buy so that you can make all three of these designs, and it comes with the felt pieces you need. So here's what you get inside of this kit. DMC embroidery floss, 3 pieces of Aida with a cross stitch needle, 3 pre-cut felt stamp backs with an embroidery needle for assembling, and 3 rose gold pin backs that you can stitch onto the back. So it also inside of here, there's a pattern. It has the pattern a couple different ways and instructions printed in there. So I'm going to jump in now and show you, once you have stitched your little design, whichever one you want to start with, then how you can assemble this whole thing and put it together, and you'll have a cute little pin to wear for Valentine's Day. Okay, so step 1 is to actually cross stitch your entire design. And if you have never cross stitched before, I would recommend that you check out my cross stitch videos here on the channel, and it'll show you how you can start your stitching with a loop method. And I have a video showing how you can stitch without using a hoop, which is what you want to do, especially if you have the kit for this. It's just easier to work with a smaller piece of fabric. That way you don't have a whole lot of waste. So after you have finished your cross stitch, you want to trim out the fabric, the extra fabric. And I have already done that here, but if you look closely, there are 2 squares on each side of the stitching. So you want to cut that carefully. Sharp scissors are your friend here, and you just follow right along on the grid of the fabric. Now, if you notice, Aida fabric, cross stitch fabric, it will fray a little bit if you pull at those edges. But what I have found is that stitched into one of these pins, it's not getting a lot of wear on the edges. If you wanted to, you could get like a fabric sealer or even just a little bit of craft glue and just put a little bit around the edges, but I have found it to not be necessary. So you can skip that step if you want. Now, we're going to grab the felt stamp backing and the pin. And for this pin, it goes horizontally. One of the pin designs is vertical. So if you're doing the vertical one, you just want to make sure that you really center the pin back from side to side. So for this, we're going to do it like this. And I have some white thread, not this. 2 or 3 strands is fine for this. I have done it both ways. And this is using the sharper embroidery needle. It goes through the felt a lot easier. You can use a cross stitch needle to go through the felt, but it just takes a little bit more work. So we're just going to stitch across the back of the pin like this. The knot is going to be hidden between the layers of felt and cross stitch. so I just have about 4 or 5 stitches to hold that securely, like that. So this is now the back of the pin. So I'm going to flip this over and position the cross stitch centered on the felt backing, like that. All right, so now let me pull out my thread for this. So now we're going to take some thread, and in the kit, the threads are cut to 1 yard lengths, and I'm just going to pull out one strand, and I am going to take this single strand, fold it in half. You don't have to do this way, but I'm going to actually start stitching these layers of the pin together using the loop method. You can also just tie a knot in the end of 2 strands if that's what you have handy. You can choose any color that you want to stitch around this. I just grabbed the red that matches the background of this. Okay, so it's really important to get this as centered as possible when you go to start stitching. I've stitched some of these and they just get a little bit off center and then it looks funny. Okay, so the loop method in cross stitch is that you have the 2 ends of your thread there, and then you have a loop at the other end from folding it in half. So that works for starting your cross stitch. It also works for this. So I'm coming up through one of the little holes on the grid. I'm going to go back down, and I'm going to catch the loop. And now my thread is secure and I don't have a knot. Now, I will probably tie a tiny knot at the end of stitching this, but it's really minimal and you can hide it pretty well. So I am just going to stitch around the edge with running stitch, but it's basically just going up and down over one square on the fabric. And it looks cute as a little decorative edge, and it holds your pin together. You just have to watch out so that your thread, your working thread, is not getting caught on the edge of your stamp or your pin back or your fabric, because it wants to do that sometimes, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to finish stitching around here, and then I'll secure it on the end. We'll be done. Okay, last stitch here. And I am going to tie a little knot close and tight on the back there. And then I'm just going to slide this needle back through the back of the felt, and the end of the thread will be hidden in the felt like this. Let's just turn this off close. Okay. All right. There's our little finished stamp pin. Now you can add this to a jacket or a bag, and if it's going to be something that would get a lot of wear, like I said, you might want to add a little bit of craft glue on the edges of your fabric so it doesn't fray. But if it's just going on a jacket or you're wearing it on a sweater, it would be just fine. Really, really cute way to celebrate Valentine's Day, or just your love of stamps and mail. That's fun too. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy making your stamp pins however you choose to do them.